Today we are following the story of Callum, who up until recently worked full-time in a call centre. He has now moved on to the next stage of his life and returned to university after 2 years to study a Bachelor of Creative Technologies. This is his story. Callum is a 21-year-old from Auckland, New Zealand. Throughout high school, his passion lied in design with more of a focus on branding. However, upon finishing his secondary studies, he began a Bachelor of Business at AUT, heading into marketing.
So I got to uni and quickly learned that business wasn't really for me. I don't know, the classes were, more structured, always felt a little bit more stricter. I did enjoy, the essay writing and the reporting, but other than that, nothing really stood out to me.
From here, Callum took a 2-year break where he worked full-time in a contact centre. He spent these 2 years looking for jobs that stood out to him and also looking into university courses for when he did decide to go back.
Working full-time in that kind of job was not something that I really wanted to do long-term. So eventually when the time came right at the end of the last year, I was able to pick up part-time work, and I thought this would be the best time for me to apply and go back to uni. So yeah.
This is when he chose the Bachelor of Creative Technologies with an end goal of getting his degree and becoming a creative technologist, an ever-evolving role with no specific or set job descriptions, but at its core is someone who is well versed on the creative process when it comes to designing, iterating and creating.
So it was a pretty easy fit for me. I'm someone who likes to be at the forefront of technology, so the decision to become a creative technologist was to be someone who asks why at every step and look at what we can do and then think about what can happen next. Like, for example, looking at the iPhone, 15 years ago, we wouldn't have imagined that we would have anything like this in our pockets. Apple took the idea of a mobile phone and a tablet, created an entirely new way for users to interact through the touchscreen, mainly using their fingers, and brought this to market in 2007. This was years ahead of any of its competitors like Google and Samsung, who followed quite a few years after.
It's this tenacity that Callum is striving for. While he's only really dabbled in graphic design, he's keen to get his hands on a few other skills from programming and coding to 3D modelling all the way over to sound production.
So I really just want to soak up as much information and skills as I can in my time here. One thing that I think is important not only in this field of work, but in life in general, is to be transdisciplinary. Essentially, this is using multiple skill sets to research, conceptualize, investigate and create new innovations from all possible angles, rather than looking at it from one way.
While Callum wants to learn more about other disciplines, he's a bit lost about his future career. He knows he'll end up somewhere in the technology sector or possibly in advertising or marketing. However, he's unsure of how or what he fits into.
Coming into this degree, I think I had a bit of a preconceived idea of what I thought we would be doing. From the get-go, I thought that we would simply be making, coding and designing new things. However, since starting, I've now learned that that is a misconception. I don't think that's a bad thing. Learning about the creative process and thinking about how this can be applied in a professional setting is incredibly useful. I'm just unsure of where I want to go at this point. Do I want to look at UX or UI design, or something a little bit different like robotics? I'm sure I'll figure this out over the next few months to years, but given that it is, creative technologies, it's ever evolving, so it could be something completely different in, the next 2 months or so.
Creative technologies is an incredibly diverse field. You can be designing a new app or website for a client one day, and the next you could be prototyping some radically life-changing product. Callum has chosen this path to broaden his mind and expand on his design background, and while there may be a few bumps in the road, with the good attitude, creative thinking and an open mind, he will be able to excel in this field and help shape the field for himself and those around him.